In Woodbridge there's quite a few people that actually attend church. Around about 10% of those in Woodbridge do actually go to a traditional church. But as a church, as St John's Church Woodbridge, we've felt like we actually need to be more where people actually are, because there's 90% of people that actually don't attend church, and we wanted to know the reasons why that is. What is their faith, where does their faith come from, and where is it going? The lounge at Costa is in a very early stage. We've been going for about 2 or 3 years, which I think is actually still quite an early stage in any person's life. When you're 3, you're still gaining the balance of walking. So the lounge at the moment is currently very, very young, and we're still in that listening stage at the moment. We still haven't found a consistent team or consistent way of experimenting with church and trying to do church in a way that people can relate to and people can come and engage with. So we're still very, very early on in the life of the lounge at Costa. So John, why do you write songs? Building community is such an important and essential part of developing and exploring a fresh expression of church. So we have a consistent time that we meet up once a month on a Sunday, normally the second Sunday of every month, and we try and experiment with live music, poetry. We also have a question time when people can ask any question they want about God, the universe, life. I really believe that community has been developed, and we've seen that, especially within those that are actually working in the coffee shop. And I believe once we've accomplished that, once we've developed those relationships and built that trust and bond, I believe that the lounge at Costa can develop and grow, and we'll just see so many people coming to know Jesus Christ.
Everybody comes to Costa. It's one of the main meeting places in the town, so bringing the church out of the 4 walls of the church building into one of the main meeting places into the town, where it's a focus for a cross-section of members of the community, I think is great.
I think the event at Costa has brought me back to church, because I did spend a spell away from church. It's because it's very informal. I know that's attracted me, definitely brought me back to church, and that's a good thing.
Often people my age who haven't been brought up going to church, they don't like to come into an environment where the seats are you're all facing the front and you're confined. Here you can just come, grab a coffee, listen to some music, hear a talk or whatever, and it's much more accessible.
Building community outside the gathering that we've established there on a monthly basis, that has started to develop. And one of my passions is going on adventures. So we've started this 5 a.m. adventure for those that have to rush off to London. People tend to commute from Woodbridge to London for their work. So we've tried to, beginning to establish and birth a new type of fresh expression of church. And this happens at 5 a.m. in the morning. Some people are actually asleep. I'm awake at those times. And we go on an adventure, whether that's running or cross-country, biking, canoeing. And then we end up at Costa, where we met them to discuss the day, to also maybe pray for the day, and also look at Psalms and maybe some Proverbs as well, because that tends to really relate to them, rather than going into a whole deep Bible study. So that's literally just happening. That's new, fresh off the shelf, and I'm really hoping to see that develop and grow. And if I'm honest, I think those that actually do turn up to the lounge, I think about 60% are actually Christians. But that still gives us 40% of those that don't know Christ to actually speak to. So it's a really tough one, and I think as a team it's really difficult to sort of have that balance and turn people away, but also we don't know where those Christians are on their journey. They could be asking a lot more questions than we actually might know on a normal Sunday service. So striking the balance is really difficult. Discipleship is essential within any Christian, within their journey, getting to know Christ and being with Christ and being with other Christians. So discipleship is a key part, and we're experimenting with different things. Sometimes we have question time in our monthly events, where people can come with any questions that they want to ask about God and faith. We try and bring in people that are actually in the workplace and Christians to answer those questions. So we've tried to do that. But again, it's on a monthly basis, and we don't have that consistency with the people we're trying to disciple. So on our 5 a.m. adventures, we're trying to build that in subtly over the days, over the weekly period, rather than trying to do it on a monthly, because I don't think we can do it on a monthly, and that's something that we're trying to think about. And do we develop it? Does the lounge on a Sunday evening become a weekly thing, so we can build that consistency, build the relationships, build the servant attitude, and out of that community comes the questions. And we really believe at the lounge in organic growth. It's got to start where people are. We can't force it on them. We can't bring our acoustic guitars, we can't bring the hymns, we can't bring the Matt Redman songs. As much as we love those things, we've got to start where people are, and then we walk with them on that journey.
Shortly after I became a Christian,
love and care is a quality that all churches should have. In terms of people that we meet on a monthly basis, but also on the 5 AM adventures, I really believe, and I can see that happening, the love and the community building within those relationships, because everyone needs God, everyone wants to worship God. They worship other things, and we really need to point them in that direction. So I think the love and the attitudes to a servant heart are slowly building, and I think that's through the team, and hopefully building a consistent team that will actually be able to relate to the people at Costa and also to the staff at Costa as well.